And we are live. Hey guys, welcome to the Superhero Post podcast where we talk about things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. We have a lot of topics coming for you guys today. First off, do us a favor, right? Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Second off, Comic Cuts and I did put out videos today. So, Comic Cuts talked about he did some deep diving into the kind of comic books for Secret Wars. And I talked about some Star Wars theories that I have about how I think the new Beyond can save the MCU. And you're going to see a lot more content from, as I say, there's content that comes out on this channel every day. But you will see more content from Comic Cuts by himself doing like more comic deep dive videos. So show some love to that. But give that some views. But bro, how are you doing, man? How are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Ready to do this. This is an exciting part of my week, and I'm feeling good, man. Work is going well. Life is going well. How's everything with you?
Good, man. Good. Just got back from church, so that was pretty chill.
Nice.
Body fat's low. I feel good.
I gotta
My
get working
trainers,
on that.
yeah, bro. I can get you contact with my my guy. He'll set you up. Trainer's proud of me. So, but the
For
funny thing
sure.
is that my wife is bringing home McDonald's. So, because I've just been eating so clean that I need some beef, man. So, she bring home some McDonald's. I'm happy about that. But
There you
so
go.
there's been a lot of things that have kind of happened. Not too crazy, but we do have a lot of things that we want to talk to you guys about today. So, first off, we're going to start off with this idea because Chris Evans was asked about coming back to the MCU, and he did, kind of leave a couple comments about that. One of the comments that he said is that he feels like it's not the right time yet for him to come back. So, I'll give my piece, and then I'll let Comic Cuts come in. I'll be honest, bro. As I said, me, and you both know that Steve Rogers isn't coming back until either King Dynasty or Secret Wars. Most likely Secret Wars, and I think that with the Battle Worlds stuff coming, he's going to be prominent in the MCU again. Like we get a Nomad Project, all these other ideas. Steve Rogers coming back right now would destroy everything that Sam is building. So that's the reason why I don't think that he's going to come back. And honestly, and we're going to get into this next about the Captain America New World like order stuff after we talk about Secret Invasion. But what they're doing with Captain America New World Order, I am kind of cool of not having Steve for a while.
So I think, first of all, like all the people that are continue to post the uh, fan made poster Captain America: The Last Mission, that ship has sailed. If it was ever going to happen, they would have done it before the multiverse saga. The fact that we're this deep into the multiverse saga, they're not going back into the Infinity Saga. It makes no sense to the overall story, and and that's that. I was going to say something about like the year is 2032. You go on Twitter, people are still saying restore the Snyderverse. But I don't think those fans are going to be doing that. I think that those fans in 2032 are going to be the biggest DCU fans. But back to the Steve Rogers thing. I actually, I wish they would bring Steve Rogers in right now. If you watch the video that we just put out about what I spoke on, the story, that what's missing from the story from the lead up to Secret Wars, Captain America is a big part of that. I would love to see the Captain America perspective, when they're trying to avoid the incursions. I think that, I always love Captain America's outlook and his perspective on a lot of things. But what's interesting is if you watch that video, and I agreed with him in The Winter Soldier, but I disagreed with him in the lead up to Secret Wars, and I took Iron Man's side. But the crazy thing is, I do think if they brought in Steve Rogers right now, they wouldn't be able to cement Sam Wilson as one of the primary characters of the MCU. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what they want to do. Uh, I love Sam Wilson. I think he deserves his time to shine. So, I could see why you can't bring the OG Captain America back while you're trying to make the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, more prominent. So I'm okay with that, and if everyone remembers, obviously, Iron Man actually died. Captain America didn't. He was aged out. Aged out is very different than, dying. So, it was, the door was kind of always open for Cap to come back. But I don't think people thought that was going to happen. And now Chris Evans is confirming it. The truth is, I think Steve is right on the money. It'll happen in an Avengers, Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars caliber movie. You saw the kind of sales they got from bringing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back in No Way Home. And, aside from it being good for the story, it's great for ticket sales. That's the most important thing. So I think it'll happen in a movie like that. And when it does, people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, I agree. If they went another route where, if they made Adam Warlock a prominent character in Guardians 1 and made it to be where Adam Warlock defeated Thanos, not Iron Man, I wish that we kept Iron Man and Cap so we could have, because it would have been the perfect situation to where after the events of Thanos, they build the Illuminati. And it could have legit been Black Panther, could have been Iron Man, Cap, or even if he did it behind his back. But in the way that the MCU goes, it probably would have been Iron Man, Cap, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and then Wakanda Forever could have introduced Namor to be a part of the Illuminati. And then you bring in the Fantastic Four, which then Tony Stark asked Reed to be a part of it. It would have been the perfect situation. I think that now looking at it, like looking at the MCU, bro, in retrospective, it's kind of showing me how and this might be a wild take, right? And bro, just hear me out if you don't agree, but I think you do agree with me. And this is why I hate you for making me read the comics, because now I see things through the comics perspective a little too much, which is hilarious. Because now, after reading Secret Wars on Marvel Unlimited, my mindset now to everything, bro, is I get that Tony Stark and Captain America leaving the MCU helps that story, but to the wider range of what the MCU is becoming, taking them out of the equation was the biggest mistake you could have ever done.
I 100% agree. No, I do. I think that, I think that if they were going to, they should have done the Captain America New World Order movie. Like movies like that, where they're going to make characters that, didn't have their own movies more prominent, should have been the first thing they did, because without Captain America and Iron Man, it's just like, it's a weak roster. It's been a weak roster. We're getting characters like She-Hulk, who they need to just kill off for everyone's sake. But I
don't agree with that. Like I don't think they should kill her off, but do her justice. Like they're like, because with, I don't want to get into New World like Order stuff, but I'll just say this: if Betty Ross does become like the Red She-Hulk, then they're going to do a battle with them both, But
here's
it's all about who's directing, right? You know what I mean?
She-Hulk, the show, the fact that you want to talk about ticket sales, obviously it's a show, so it's a little different. But Megan Thee Stallion twerking, I mean, that was for social media virality.
Yeah.
No other explanation. But you could do the Secret Wars story, like the Fantastic Four. You could do the Illuminati and kind of change it a little bit from the comics and bring in Reed Richards. They're struggling to come up with a defense plan against the incursions. Then they meet Reed Richards or link up with Reed Richards, and Reed Richards like, all right, let me get to work.
I mean, the Doctor Strange could have even exactly, and Doctor Strange, and like, what if instead of us seeing the Illuminati from the from Earth 838 and the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange could have solved the issues in Multiverse of Madness. Then he could have formed his own Illuminati after that. And honestly, bro, think about this. What if Doctor Strange used the same characters from the Illuminati, right? But the only catcher is that they're just a bunch of people from different Earths. I think that's an even doper idea because now you have multiple people from different Earths looking at kind of like the stakes, I guess, and kind of keeping the peace. Because even if you don't want to recast T'Challa right now, we could
You
have
could
just
bring in
got a variant.
but there's one problem with that,
What?
and if you can't form an Avengers team from different universes when they're all worried about their own Earth when it comes to incursions, because if that is the case, you know, a lot of them are going to backstab each other and save their own planet and screw the others over. That was like a big part of the story in the Hickman's Avengers leading into Secret Wars was, you know, uh, screw the other planet that we're going to get into this incursion with. Let's save ourselves. And now, if they're all scattered on different Earths, I just see a lot of them going to save themselves. I see, and all of them on the Illuminati were already on the let's save ourselves. So if you form the Illuminati from different planets, they're all going to be, yeah, let's save our Earth. Namor will want to save his Earth. Iron Man will want to save his Earth. Doctor Strange, everyone on the Illuminati individually will want to save their individual Earths. And I just think that is it. I just think it's too much for a story.
I agree. You're right. You're right. Because, but I do really believe that the fact that they killed off Tony and kind of retired Steve, it just, as I said, in regards to Secret Wars, it doesn't serve the story the justice that it actually deserves.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how they're going to do that because obviously, regardless if Steve's on retire, right, Chadwick Boseman was going to pass, right? R.I.P. I mean, sad story. That's really sad. But at the same time, it's like I do think they did have plans for a Illuminati. I do think I think the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman plus just all of the other shifts that have happened, that idea changed. And honestly, bro, I do believe that the Illuminati is going to form, and that's why I do believe that they're pushing up a Doctor Strange 3 to happen before Secret Wars and the Fantastic Four and all of these other things. I just have to see how it's going to work and how that dynamic is going to work. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very interesting to see how they're going to kind of do everything. Because I'm a little like skeptical in that sense.
That's what I kind of like about the MCU is like, even if you do read the comics, you don't know what's coming. So they keep it interesting. Obviously, even reading Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, no one could have saw what was coming. It was very different than the comics. The premise was the same, but who did what, how they saved the day was very different. So, time will tell. But I do, I think it was interesting in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness how, Doctor Strange was the biggest threat to the multiverse. Is Doctor Strange going to become a bad guy? That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think
Could
it's
happen.
very interesting. But as I said, I think after Captain America: New World Order, all of our minds are going to change, and we're going to be on the Sam Wilson ride. And from all the
Yep.
stuff that I'm hearing about, this might be the best Captain America movie of all time. I hate to say
Yeah.
it. I hold the Winter Soldier in high regard. This movie might top that. I ain't gonna lie.
So when Spider-Man Miles Morales came out for PS5, we had the electricity and invisibility features added. And I think when Sam Wilson, when New World Order hits the screen, like now you have a Captain America who could fucking fly. That's a big deal, and it's gonna look sick in action. The action scenes that they could do a lot more with that, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. So there's a lot of potential there.
Yep.
Obviously, the Captain America movies are known for the action. So I don't, like I said, I've said from day one, I think that's going to be one of the best MCU movies. So I 100% agree with you.
Yep. And I think this opens up another conversation that I think that's going to be had in the next 15 years, I believe. And bro, keeping 100 with you, I believe that in the next 15 to about 20 years, like after, because I do think Tom Holland's going to be Spider-Man for the next like 10 years. I think we're going to see Peter Parker kind of progress a long time, and I think we're going to get Hobgoblin and all of these other characters. But I do think that in the next 10 to 15 years to 20 years, Miles Morales is going to be more popular than Peter.
I can see that happening too.
And Into the Spider-Verse is showing that Miles Morales is he's very popular. Not to us, but to the kids, bro. They love Miles. So
that's awesome. He's a great character. Great character.
And Sam and Sam has that same potential that, like, if it's done right, the fans will adore him.
Yeah. Yeah. And Anthony Mackie, he's got the talent for the part. There's no reason that movie shouldn't be a top MCU movie. But like I've been saying, I hope that they do. I don't think it'll be the ultimate Fallout storyline, but there is the Secret Wars, storyline where, Peter kind of passes the torch to Miles. I don't think that's going to happen in Secret Wars because I think that, listen, a big part of the reason they wanted Tom Holland's character to be so young, aside from the fact that the story started when he was in high school, is they wanted to age him out. And I think that, there's no way that Kevin Feige doesn't look at the current MCU and think to himself, shit, like I wish we still had Iron Man and Cap. Granted, I think there were a lot of things that went into that decision with, off screening Iron Man and Cap. But Spider-Man is the most popular Marvel character of all time. Peter Parker Spider-Man.
I'm telling you, MCU Spider-Man, my brother, he's getting 9 movies.
Yeah.
He's gonna be the first person. He's gonna be the first character in history to have a triple trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I think while that is happening, I think Miles Morales will get his trilogy. And what's going to make their movie so great is there's going to be a lot of Spider-Man crossover. There's probably going to be a Spider-Man movie. Not man, Spider-Man, Miles and Peter. And that shit will do $1 billion. No questions asked.
And if Sony plays their cards right, they can take the Spider-Verse thing live action. They really can. They make billions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
And no matter how trash it is, it's going to be loved and make money.
I think it'll
because
be cool,
we looked at the Amazing Spider-Man and some of the crap that they did with that. Andrew Garfield still loved universally. So
I love the Amazing Spider-Man. I really do. I think the first one was one of the best Spider-Man movies.
I agree. I love the first one. Peter Parker's depiction, though, frustrates me, but I love it. Okay, next topic. Secret Invasion. Okay, how did you feel about the Secret Invasion trailer, my brother?
I think it's getting a lot of hype, but I don't think it told us a lot about the story that they're going to be going into in the Secret Invasion. So I would have liked to have seen that. But I love that there was some scroll action in it, and specifically with like the shape shifting feature. I just think that Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, MCU fans, don't really understand the weight that the scrolls have in the Marvel universe and Marvel lore. And as much as I loved Captain Marvel, my biggest problem with the Captain Marvel movie itself was that they kind of, sidestepped the Kree-Skrull War. And so I just think MCU fans don't really understand how great the Skrulls are. And this show, I think, is going to be the best Disney Plus show. But I also think, that it's going to be a big, like, it's obviously that they're calling it Secret Invasion, but this is a Nick Fury show, and that's going to be sick. I mean, you have Samuel L. Jackson have his own character. Like, it's about time that man got his own project, even though they're calling it Secret Invasion.
I agree. I 100% agree, man. I mean, and I agree with you that in Captain Marvel, they made them so weak. Like they were just like wussies. Like the Kree was just beating them up the whole movie.
Yeah, the Kree were savages.
Yeah, but a lot of people, a thing that was downplayed, and as I said, I hate you because I'm reading comics again. One thing that I read in the comic cuts is that the Skrulls, they were combat savants, bro. I mean, they knew almost every fighting style. I mean, like they knew how to fight,
Yeah.
And in Captain Marvel, they were just like all they could do was just shapeshift. That's about it.
Yeah.
Versus the very few that had combat skills. So, I mean, let's not talk about the biggest thing. There are two big things in the trailer that I saw. Number one, we see the Super Skrull. We see Skrulls with powers.
Yeah. And that was crazy. That arm stretch thing. But
yeah.
You know what? My one complaint about that is that arm thing looked identical to Reed Richards in Doctor Strange. Like there are so many different things you could have done with the Skrulls.
But I think they're taking the approach. Like, remember, like the Super Skrull had all of their powers at once. I think they're taking that approach.
Okay,
but
maybe.
Yeah, and the second thing that we see in the trailer, which made me go crazy, is that let me just say this: Secret Invasion trailer confirmed one thing for me. The first thing is that the Skrull that we saw with Monica Rambeau, that's Emilia Clarke's character. And Emilia Clarke is Talos' daughter. And I don't think you guys peeped it, but if you look at the trailer super hard, you see Emilia Clarke's face in the back of Monica Rambeau's head. So Monica Rambeau is going to be in this film, or be in this show, which means that this show is going to connect to the Marvels, which makes me believe that Nick Fury is going to have a part to play in this film, which means that SHIELD is probably going to be coming back.
Yeah, which is great. I think Marvel needs a banger like this right now. And by the way, as much as I loved Loki, I ranked so high because it introduced us to the TVA and Kang. But if it weren't for that, I don't know if I would rank Loki as high. I think that Secret Invasion, story episode, just pound for pound, this one's gonna blow a lot of the other Marvel shows out of the water.
Yeah.
And like I said, Skrulls, and I hope that they have a bigger part that we don't know about in the multiverse. I can't imagine they're doing a Nick Fury show around the Secret Invasion storyline, and it doesn't have a significant role within the grander multiverse story. It just doesn't seem like a good idea to do this as a one-off show for the sake of gaining more Disney Plus subscribers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I mean, look, I think that Secret Invasion is going to be like the most grounded, non-grounded story ever, and if that makes sense, it's gonna be non-grounded because we're fighting against aliens, right? But also going to be grounded because there's going to be a lot of infiltrating governments and faking as the presidents and all other people like that. I even think that this could even give us some leadway into Captain America: New World Order as well. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw somebody like Val in this show or something with someone like that, which we're going to talk about next when we go to Captain America: New World Order. But all in all, trailers are W. I love Monica Rambeau. I'm a big Photon fan, so I'm happy that she's in it, and I hope that we get to see Photon showcase her powers because Photon's a dope character, and I also hope that Emilia Clarke's character, the one that's playing Talos' daughter, I pray she has powers as well, and I do think that she's going to grow to be a leader of the Skrulls. You guys watch Superhero Squad? There was this girl that was a Skrull leader. I wish I had the image. I'll pull it up. later on in the episode. But I think that's who they're trying to groom Amelia's Clark character to be. I think she's gonna end up being the main leader of the Skrulls because you don't bring in a character like Amelia Clark and just have her one off a show. If they
I
one
was thinking
off
the same thing.
Amelia Clark, if they one off her in this show, I will riot. I swear to you, I will lose my ever living mind.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if you can keep Sylvie, who is the most mid character of all time, but you don't keep Amelia Clark, I will riot. So
I don't think she would have signed on to do it unless she was going to have a bigger role than just the show. Just because it's a critical time in her career. Everyone knows who she is from Game of Thrones. She's looking to increase her, value as an actor, and you don't do a show like this to not be in the MCU. And I know that, when you sign on to the MCU, you don't really know what's going to happen with your character. But that doesn't mean someone like her doesn't have some negotiating power.
That's true. And I also should say this for our fantasy post page, but just letting you know, man, a lot of rumors about her coming back to Game of Thrones, man. Apparently, there's a lot of rumors going around. So
I'm not a Game of Thrones guy. I know we're gonna watch it for but I watched that show, and I did get into the third season, but I just turned it off. Like, it just wasn't for me. I also, I like Lord of the Rings, but sometimes the fantasy shit seems a little corny to me.
Yeah, the same way you're not a fan of musicals.
Yeah, exactly. Musicals are definitely corny to me.
Oh my god. Okay, that's why, bro. We're gonna force you to watch a high school musical 1, 2, and 3. I'm just kidding.
It's so funny because people got so offended. Like,
with the
musical before.
Yeah, with the when you commented about the Joker, you were like, it is a musical, so I will not be watching. People,
yeah.
Even freaking Costner, he was like, bro, but what are you talking about?
yeah.
Okay, so now next we're going to talk about Captain America: New World Order. As I said, it's been a good week for MCU news. I mean, fans are happy. I think fans are starting to understand that we're going to have to eat trash to get these good projects, which me and you have been talking about for the past 2 months. Okay, so I'm going to get
stop though. That's got to stop. No more.
I agree.
Trash to get good
I agree. Cancel Agatha. Okay, so while we're talking about Captain America, yes, please, God, please. All right, Captain America: New World Order. There were set photos. The set photos had Betty Ross, Thunderbolt Ross's daughter. We got to see Thunderbolt Ross, Harrison Ford, in like a presidential suit. We got to see Sam Wilson. He had a cast on his arm. He was at a funeral, which seems like it was a funeral of a high-ranking person in the government, but Sam wasn't wearing his military outfit. Very interesting. Probably because he's Captain America. He doesn't care at this point. Apparently Val is in this movie, and apparently the Thunderbolts. Remember when I was telling you how the rumor was that the Thunderbolts is the team that's going to go get the adamantium from the Celestial that's frozen in the Eternals?
Yeah.
Apparently it's the Serpent Society, and Val is basically one of the leaders of the Serpent Society.
Oh, wow. And that's another character. Like, she's just such a big actor. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she's got to have a big role to do this because she doesn't just come back into movies. She very rarely takes a role. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the name, she is obviously, to everyone else obvious, but she was a huge character on Seinfeld, and set for life with a role like that. So I just don't think that she's coming to the MCU for a one-off. I think that the Thunderbolts are going to have a big part of the story. They're also have a big part in Devil's Reign, and I don't think that they're gonna, if they are doing the Devil's Reign story for Daredevil, there's no way they're doing a Thunderbolts movie, and the Thunderbolts don't have a role in that Daredevil show, which would be insane. Because if that is true, now you have a Daredevil show where you're gonna have Daredevil, Spider-Man, the Thunderbolts. I mean, Punisher. What more could you ask for?
Yeah. And one of the reasons why she signed on is because her and Feige are apparently super tight.
Okay,
Like
I didn't know
so,
that.
yeah, they're actually friends. Which is awesome. Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, now I mean we said this before. We think Captain America: New World Order is going to be straight up fire. So there is a character that was on set, right? So there's a character that's called Sabra. Okay, Sabra is basically a hero, or she's a basically a spy from Israel. So she's going to play the role of Black Widow in this film. And obviously, the guy from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's going to be the new Falcon. So the way that I am viewing Captain America: New World Order, I'm viewing this as Sam Wilson's Winter Soldier. You know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was Sam Wilson's first Avenger, and this is that second Winter Soldier. So I think this film is going to be next level. I believe this film is going to hit deep rankings of comic book lore, with seeing stuff like the Serpent Society, with seeing Thunderbolt Ross become the Red Hulk, and seeing how all this stuff unfolds. I'm very excited. I have yet to see Bruce Banner in this film though, because I mean, let's not forget there was another person that we saw on the set, the leader.
Right.
So we have yet to see Bruce Banner, and the rumors that I'm hearing, bro, about Bruce Banner is that we're getting Angry Hulk back.
Good. Because I was just gonna say I'd rather not even have the Hulk if it's what they have. Oh, this shit's coming out in like a year. It's like literally 13 months exactly.
I'm definitely driving up to see that in New York for sure with you, man.
Hell yeah, we'll go.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude! I can't wait. I agree. I think this is gonna be like Winter Soldier level epic, and I don't think people realize, because they're not everyone's like us, and I don't think that I think a lot of people sleep on Sam Wilson and this movie just in general. And Saba is definitely a dope character. If you know anything about Israel and their Mossad, they do not fuck around. And it's fucking
yeah, bro. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And I think that Kevin Feige is starting to understand what he needs to do. Is that you basically have to recreate what was in the past, but with newer characters. So it seems like Kevin Feige is using the same format, and that's going to work. And Secret Invasion is another piece of the same format, So I'm very excited to see, what Feige's going to do there.
Agreed.
I'm lagging a little bit. What's going on? Oh, there we go. I'm back. Okay, so guys, so just final thoughts. We love Captain America: New World Order. Okay, next, Blue Beetle trailer. Okay, so the Blue Beetle trailer ended up coming out. And it was very, very interesting. So, Comic Cuts, how did you feel about the Blue Beetle trailer?
Oh, DC's always so dark, man. That shit was not dark. It was young. It was fun. That shit looks so awesome. I think that movie is going to blow people away. It's obviously has a lot of hype after the trailer. I do have to call out, though, that someone from the movie, I think it was the director or the actor of Jaime Reyes, who is the character that becomes the Blue Beetle. But, he was like, first of all, I don't know if you noticed, but in the trailer, they say Batman's a fascist.
Yeah, George Lopez said it, which made me laugh.
Yeah, what the fuck? And now they're saying it's not a throwaway joke. Like, come on. That really pissed me off. It's just like it's just,
what is a fascist?
A fascist is like an authoritarian government.
But Batman goes against the law. What?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't go against law. I mean, okay. Well, aside from that, the Joe is pretty good. Like, there's always some political BS with these films. I just, at this point, I don't know what to do with it anymore. I just say forget it. Yeah, that's pointless. Don't understand why they did that. I thought it was a joke because George Lopez said it. I thought he added it on because
I thought it was a joke too. Yeah. But then they said it's not.
Oh, that's weird because hearing it as a joke, that's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as a joke, that's actually freaking hilarious. But Blue Beetle, look, man, the sad thing is that I wish this movie came out around the time of Batman vs Superman, because you know why, bro? They would have been viewing this guy as like, this gave me Peter Parker vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. like, and now they're saying that it is going to be included in the DCU.
which is a
So
W, which is
yeah,
W.
which
And
is a
I
W.
wish exactly, and I low key wish that we had Cavill in them because I would love to see them mentor this kid. I think that would be awesome. But and I hope that with with the Superman that we're going to get, I pray that he can be a mentor to this Blue Beetle character because the guy that is playing him, he has such a Peter Parker esque type of personality that like this guy's going to capture the hearts of fans and people.
Yeah,
And I'm very excited. Shazam was that for a little bit with Shazam 1, but Shazam 2 has just ruined that with everyone at this point. Thank you, Zachary Levi. But yeah, that crap show. Woo! Thank God that's over. But I do think that with Blue Beetle, man, this movie is going to be really good. I just hope that people go out and see it because if people don't go out and see it, another movie is going to tank. I don't think this is going to tank, but I do wish that this film came out about 10 years ago or
yeah,
5 years ago. It feels like it's like the wrong timing, if that makes sense.
yeah, and also like this, so the Blue Beetle character, becomes the Blue Beetle from an alien Egyptian scarab. And I just think there's so much, mythos there that like is going to be new to so many people. And I think that's kind of what you need, like I think, obviously people now are kind of sick of origin stories, but when there's an origin story of a character you don't know, and it's good, it's a W. If you look at all the earlier Marvel movies, a lot of them are origin movies, and a lot of them, at the time, people didn't know these characters, and those movies did so well because if someone doesn't know the character, you can't just introduce them as a Blue Beetle. People want to know the backstory, and if there's some mythos there to buy into, that's huge. And I just think, you know, Egyptian
Yeah.
alien scarab
I
sounds
just
like
wonder who the main
awesome.
villain's going to be because I don't think we saw the main villain in
Oh,
the
that's a
show.
good. Yeah, no, I don't think we did. I think most of it was around Jaime Reyes, him having like a normal kid job, working at a hotel, his family who seemed hilarious, and I just think the movie looks amazing. Apparently the suit is, practical effects, which
Yes,
is
it
really
is.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
really
when
cool.
they showed the set photos last year, it was very practical, which I like. I also am a really big fan of, and like, see, one of the things that I loved what they did with Blue Beetle in the animated is that they put his origin in the Young Justice show, which I really enjoyed, and I think it gave Blue Beetle more like character development, putting him with the Young Justice group. Um, I hope love to see a movie with Damian Wayne, Superboy, probably not Superboy, but I would love to see a movie with Damian Wayne and like maybe like Dick Grayson and maybe like mentoring Damian and Blue Beetle or something like that. I
Yeah.
think there's potential to do that in the DCU.
Yeah. By the way, I loved the shot of Blue Beetle in space. I mean, that was Superman vibes. That was so sick.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
such a
awesome.
good shot too. It looked awesome.
It was good. Yeah, lately, man, DC hasn't been missing with the VFX. I told you, bro.
Yeah.
Shazam had really good CGI. I can't hate on that. Okay, all right. So, oh wait, sorry.
No, I
You
wasn't
say
gonna
something?
say anything. No,
All right.
I was just looking up the release date.
Oh, bet. All right. Next thing. I know you and I talked about this on the phone not so long ago, or I
Uh
think
huh.
through text, but we talked about Clayface being one of the villains in the Batman. Bro, can you just give a quick rundown on Clayface for fans that don't know who he is?
Yeah. So he is really like so. Basil Carlo is the name of the character. And he really starts off as like Bruce Wayne's friend, and he inhales like some kind of toxin or something that the Joker set out for him. And when he inhales that toxin, he kind of becomes this clay guy, and it sounds ridiculous. And if you're not familiar with Clayface and you look up pictures and you see him from Batman the animated series, it's going to look ridiculous. But if you read the comics, there's a lot of depth to this character. And there are times where he actually teams up with Batman. Batman actually feels bad for, you have to remember, it was his friend that, became this like substance guy, due to the Joker, who, Batman obviously sees as someone who, is just a complete savage for no reason. So if you're a victim of the Joker and your Batman friend, Batman really feels for you. So Clayface is a villain, but Batman really feels bad for him. And I think it was in the James Tynion Detective Comics run where Clayface kind of joins the Bat family. Highly recommend that. A lot of people were saying they don't think that, they think it'll be a more grounded version of Clayface. I agree. I think that's kind of what we got of the Riddler, even though the Riddler naturally is more grounded than Clayface. But I think it's going to be really cool. And I love that they chose Clayface. I think that it shows that they are making choices that are unexpected. And I love that because everyone's expecting them to choose Mr. Freeze. And I hate Mr. Freeze. I think Mr. Freeze is boring. There's only one story to tell with him. He's one-dimensional. He's not versatile. And there is a reason that comic writers don't use him. And they don't use him because they don't think he's good enough for their stories. It's that simple. Of course, I turned it into hating on Mr. Freeze, but
I'll forever stand with that. Mr. Freeze sucks, man. There's no other way. That dude sucks, man. Yeah, he's boring. Yo, you should add that down to your video list. You should do a YouTube video on why Mr. Freeze is bad.
100%.
That'll be a W. Yeah. I remember when I posted that. Remember when I posted that clip on TikTok and everybody was getting pissed off at us? They were like, L take, L superhero post, L comic cuts. I was like, oh god, here we go. Yeah. They were so mad. Sorry guys, Mr. Freeze is mid, bro. There's no other way around it.
Dude, I feel like I feel like that, and this happens a lot with sneakers too. I think that there are like some people have an opinion and all of a sudden everyone has an opinion. And it's like, I feel like a lot of the people that are, ranting that they want Mr. Freeze to be the villain don't read comics. They don't know much about Batman villains, but they saw a couple other people saying they want Mr. Freeze and they don't think for themselves. So now they're just like, oh, Mr. Freeze, we want Mr. Freeze. Like, think for yourself.
How can you say you want grounded content, but you want a freaking dude that's ice? That's ice.
Yeah, seriously. It makes no sense.
And if you want to watch how idiotic it looks, go take a look at Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger and see how stupid he looks in it. Yeah. And then you tell me if you want to see Mr. Freeze or not. Freaking idiots. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I would love Clayface to be the villain in the Batman. I think you.
Well, he's not going to be the main villain, but they said he has a big role. I don't think he's going to be the main villain though.
I could love seeing. Yeah, facts. I would love seeing Clayface play a part. I would love if they got a little wacky with it, if that makes sense. I would love to see. I agree. A little more wackier version, kind of like not wackier as in playful, but it's just the way he moves and make it as CGI as possible. I will be a fan of that. I still think
it has to be CGI.
Exactly.
Clayface.
I don't think Court of Owls is going to be in this film. I think that's going to be the third film. I think they're going to build up to that. I wouldn't mind seeing Deathstroke as well.
If we're not going to,
I do think that.
If we're not going to get Court of Owls, Deathstroke is and Deathstroke as a villain for the Batman makes a lot of sense because if they want to make it if they want to introduce more action into the franchise, Deathstroke is the perfect villain.
I agree. And I do, as much as I loved Batman 1, I do equally agree that there needs to be room in this film to put the League of Shadows and to put all that in this film. And what I think Matt Reeves is going to do, which I wouldn't be against, because the way that I see this, if I'm Matt Reeves, I wouldn't mind doing the Penguin show, right? Or putting in the Penguin show that Bruce Wayne is away. And what if during this Penguin show when Bruce Wayne is away, he's training with the League of Shadows? So maybe, I wouldn't mind if the chronological order isn't in the same order, because right now Batman doesn't
As
have
the
like,
comics, you mean?
I mean, sorry, yeah, it's the comics. Because right now, Batman doesn't have like the fighting skills that we know him for. I wouldn't mind if during this gap,
Sure.
when the Penguin show is happening and he's kind of gaining his reign in Gotham, Bruce Wayne is gone
But I
and he's
think
with
they
the League of Shadows.
confirmed. I think they confirmed that Bruce Wayne or Batman will be in uh, the Penguin show.
Well, yeah, no, he's going to be Drifter or something like that. But
Okay,
so, but
he
I
doesn't need
do.
to be there for every episode. Is what I
Exactly.
think.
And I think that they could build that thing of like Bruce Wayne's gone. We don't know where he is or something like that. He's on
Right,
a
right.
business trip. And maybe we can get a so they have to fill the League of Shadows and Batman somewhere. Because that is like the League is, and this might be a wild take. The League of Shadows is the biggest part of his lore. And you can't leave that out. You can't.
It. I don't know if it. I think Gotham might be, or maybe that's more mythos than lore.
Huh?
I was gonna say I think Gotham might be, but that might be more mythos than lore.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I agree. I would love to see, the League of Assassins, League of Shadows, and but here's the other thing. You know, first of all, if they're gonna bring in League of Assassins, League of Shadows, they have to at the very least mention Ra's al Ghul and have Talia al Ghul. The other thing though is, and I would love to see it. I want to see them step up the action in the Batman too. You know, what's interesting to me is, and I know I'm always calling out the fans, but how people are like, oh, well, this Batman is more grounded, so it's not going to be action. Like, dude, there's progression and evolution. It's called a sequel. It's not the same movie. Like, it's called character development. Like, people are just so dumb. It's unbelievable. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to say, though, is like, they they already showed that the Joker exists in this Batman story. They have the Joker in it. The Penguin is obviously going to be a bigger character. So if the Batman 2 has Penguin, the Joker, Clayface, and though all of them aren't the main villain, how crazy is this movie going to be? Or are they, going to put one or two of them in the back seat? And Catwoman. So I don't know. I just think it seems like they already have too much going on. And
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
what
I
if
don't know.
what if they're pawns and the Court of Owls is the main thing behind it, which leads into the Batman 3, something like
Yeah.
that as
Yeah.
well.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I just want to see the Court of Owls, man. That would be the sickest fucking thing ever. And by the way, I think that the Court of Owls are newer. So I think there's a lot of fans out there who don't know who the Court of Owls are. And they're just saying, oh, Mr. Freeze. And they don't even know about the Court of Owls.
Yeah, I agree. People don't exactly read the comics. I'm telling you, Comic Cuts got me back into it, and my knowledge is back. I'm back, baby. Okay. Now we're going to talk about this quickly. Joker set photos. I don't really care. Screw the Joker. I don't even want to see it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, musical pass.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get into now. As you guys know, this is where we split the episode. We are going to get into. So this is another addition to our podcast series called Road Through the MCU, where we are going to be talking about Thor 1. And so far we've been through Iron Man 1. We've been through Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, and now we're on Thor 1. So the order that we talk about these, we have an actually organized order, because I listened back to it and I'm like, it's not organized with the way we talk about it. So first, we're going to talk about our expectations for the film before we saw it. We're going to give our pros and cons of the film, and then we are going to put any extra talk in there. Okay, so what was your expectations for Thor 1 before you went to go see it?
I don't remember. I just knew it was going to be a good movie. I knew Marvel was onto something special, and I knew I could expect a good-looking movie, an interesting character that I didn't know a lot about at the time, and That's what I got. And I love the movie then. I love the movie now. I think it's the best Thor movie. Um, and it's a great movie. And I think a lot of people knock this movie, and it's like, what the hell are you talking about? This movie was amazing, and I love the story from Thor, Loki, Odin, and Thor's progression as a character who kind of really grew up in a god way that was very different from any of us growing up. And when he was knocked out in that small town in, I think, New Mexico, and the hammer comes and he just fucking beats the destroyer, and then when he was trying to save Loki at the end on the light bridge, even after Loki did all that backstab and shit, like, and that movie was awesome.
Yeah, so my expectations for this film, because growing up, like from the comics I used to read, was like Thor like worked at this place. He would have a staff press it, and then that became his that's what I thought we were going to get in the film,
Yeah.
and we didn't get it, and I was like, what the frick, like why? I was so confused. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, that was my expectation. So my expectations were actually blown out of the water. I thought Asgard was good. I really liked the movie. As a kid, I will say this. So I had a hard time getting used to the fact that, like, being a kid, you're so used to hero stuff that when you see, because Thor 1 is a very grounded film, if we're being real, because like for like if 60% of the movie Thor has no powers and he's just a regular human. So
Right.
I had a hard time dealing with that. But now looking at it, like it felt like they were taking like the kind of Jesus approach, like how the Bible says, like, right, said that like Jesus came down to live as a human. They kind of took that same idea with Thor, of like Thor was such a god. He was so stuck in his mindset that Odin sent him down to be a human so he could learn his lesson about what it truly means to be human and to be like powerless. You know what I mean? And so I think that concept is really good, teaches a good lesson. Now let's talk about now in my personal review. As I said, I think it's a good movie. I have nothing really against it, but now let's talk about our pros and cons. All right, so what are your pros and cons regarding Thor 1?
I want to say I wish that they explored Hawkeye a little more. They kept Hawkeye as like a mysterious character. But I just think that was the phase of Marvel that we were in. Rhodey wasn't War Machine, Black Widow wasn't in Iron Man 1. I think there could have been a little more action. I think during the time when Thor didn't have his powers, we had one amazing action scene. Obviously, that was at the New Mexico site that Shield had built around Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. But sometimes I think I remember like when that movie first came out, like, and when I bought the Blu-ray DVD, and I was like, kind of wish it had more action. But when I watched it again last night for this, I was loving it. Like, I was like, this shit is fire.
Yeah, Thor 1 for sure shows us that like they didn't have a big film budget, and that a lot of their budget was spent on the Asgard stuff. I think that has another reason why it was so grounded for a long time. But yeah, my pros were number one, that I love Thor's costume in this film.
Fire.
I love cocky Thor. Pause. I also bringing in Tom Hiddleston as Loki is one of, I think, and this might be a reach, as I said, I think he is a top 2 greatest villain of all time in superhero films. And Tom Hiddleston and this movie like started that reign. I think Loki's performance in this film is like top tier acting.
100%.
Like top tier. I love Odin. Actually, I love all the characters in this film. I think Natalie Portman as Jane is the perfect casting.
Even that girl as Darcy was good.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Eric Selvig.
I 100% agree on that. Why am I lagging like this?
Yeah.
Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah.
Yo, what is happening? Hold on 1 second. I'm about to turn this on because I'm lagging like that. All right, I'm back. I think I'm back.
So, the other thing is, damn. Oh,
All right,
there you are. Shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So I think it's interesting to me that people have now had time to rewatch these movies, and people look at Thor 1 and The Dark World as the bad Thors, and Ragnarok as like god tier. Which, listen, Ragnarok was a good movie for sure, but I still think Thor 1. I think Thor 1 was the best, Thor 2 second best, Ragnarok third, and the new one not only just 4 but the worst MCU movie.
No. Love and Thunder is the greatest Thor movie of all time.
Get out of here!
I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
I know
that movie is garbage. Yeah, that movie's bona fide garbage. There's no way around that. Yeah,
garbage. But I do think that it, there was a noticeable disapproval of Thor 1 and more so Thor 2, which is why we got the departure that was Ragnarok. And then when Ragnarok worked, I think that's why they let Taika Waititi double down on his just ridiculousness, and he got cocky and made Love and Thunder, which was the worst
hot garbage
movie. Yeah,
man. Yeah, I agree. I am lagging so bad right now. What is happening? Hold on 1 second, bro. 1 second. Yo, can you just do me a favor and just talk about like what you want for the future of Thor while I fix my the internet.
So I think they really should bring back the Russo brothers formula for Thor. I think they need Thor to take a step back of the silliness that they've been doing, and if they do that, we'll be good again. But my concern is that how do you make Thor? How do you reverse someone's buffoonery? Like, they totally made Thor into a total buffoon. Like, I don't know how you make the character have any sense of seriousness after that. And maybe they do it in a big crossover movie. But at the same time, I don't think they could really wait for a crossover movie. Like, they need strong characters. Thor is one of the OGs, obviously a strong character. So, I think that to do it, they could kind of do it as a small part of a non-Thor MCU movie, and then when they do a Thor movie again, they could make him more serious, but at least bring him into another crossover movie or another character's movie and write him as you normally would, sans Taika Waititi, and then do a Thor movie again and pretend Love and Thunder never happened.
Oh yeah, right. We had the fate that film did not happen. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Legit. Yes, I mean, as I said, I agree with you. Thor is definitely redeemable. Like, it has to be redeemable. I think every movie is redeemable except maybe I think every film is redeemable to an extent, except the Fantastic Four that had Michael B in it. That's not redeemable. But but I do think that, like, I wouldn't do a Thor 5 personally. I would just put Thor with other characters at this point. It'll be more fun.
Right, and there's not really a need for it.
I agree, brother. I'm not really too trippy on it.
But what's interesting is they gave him Gore's son to be Thor's son, and I don't know.
You mean his daughter?
Daughter, sorry, yeah. So it's like if they're gonna do that,
And
how are
she's
they gonna?
eternity, so it's so confusing. It's weird.
Yeah, the whole
It's
thing is
weird.
weird.
And I think Kang's going to kill the girl to become beyond her Kang to get the powers of eternity. So
See, that makes sense because there has to be a purpose of that.
yeah, well, she has the power of eternity. Like she's OP. Like
Right,
you know what I mean.
right.
So it's gonna be crazy how we're gonna kind of see her tie in the future. But yeah, man, I think that Thor one's a great starter movie. But I do want to get into some of my cons in this film though. My first con is that Asgard felt empty and too clean. It felt like it was uninhabitable.
Or
And
uninhabited or uninhabitable.
uninhabited. Sorry, uninhabited. There weren't people walking around. That's one of the reasons why I love Thor: Dark World, because Thor: Dark World felt like I was watching a Shrek movie. If that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I freaking love that. Exactly. Same with Thor Ragnarok. I feel like I was watching a Shrek film. And when I think of Thor, I think of Shrek. I don't know why. It's weird. I also didn't really like all of the groundedness that happened on the Earth. I wish Thor got his powers back sooner. I just, I mean, you know me, bro. I love costumes. I love superhero goodness. Why does the dude have to be human for so long? I mean, I think that's a big reason why people didn't like the film. I think you could have sped up a lot of this, and you could have.
I think it made it feel boring to a lot of people.
Exactly, and I'm like a 13-year-old kid watching this. I'm like, what the heck? So it was kind of boring, and it still is a little boring sometimes. But I do wish that things could have sped up, I guess you can say. And my last con, let me see. I don't really have any other cons regarding that, man. I think that all in all, the movie's a W. Other than that, I mean, Loki's performance and Odin's performance make up for 99% of the lackings in this movie. 100%. And I mean, and we can't forget about Heimdall. Heimdall's another one who was just a W casting. But Heimdall, I mean, I love Idris Elba. Kind of feel he was wasted because he's such a great and big actor. To waste him as Heimdall kind of sucks. But I mean, he plays a role. I mean, but shout out to Kevin Feige for giving Heimdall a bigger role. It's a shame that he died that way in Infinity War. But they extended him as long as it could, and now he's still in Thor. I mean, we saw him in Valhalla, so great. I mean, Thor showed us how great at casting Kevin Feige is.
Yeah,
this movie had the most perfect castings that you can think of, and that's kind of been the same for a lot of the Phase 1. The castings were just, I mean, you couldn't go wrong with RDJ, Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth. The most perfect castings in superhero history.
Trio. Yeah, and it's hard to imagine anyone else in those roles.
Yeah, remember Tom Hiddleston auditioned for Thor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's thank crazy. God, right? That dude would have been ugly as Thor.
Oh my God, he would have been terrible.
Yeah,
but it's really easy to buy into Loki's mischievous, his backstabbing, like all of it in every movie and project he's in. And I'm glad that he's still such a prominent character in the MCU. It's crazy that he is he's the villain.
He's bigger now.
Movies. Yeah.
He might be an Avenger. We don't this dude could be an Avenger at this point.
Right.
I don't know how I would feel about that, but
No, I'm just happy that he's still there.
Yeah, I agree. He's just one of the last remnants of the good times that we have. But so, yeah, man. I mean, all in all, I think that Thor is a great movie, and I love it. And guys, I'm also going to clip some of the culture nerd stuff to put in this episode as well, because he spoke a lot about Thor. He's more passionate about Thor 1 than we are. So I'll make sure to put his clip
probably
on the podcast. Honestly, that's his favorite MCU film. So I'll definitely clip up the culture nerds part and put that on the podcast audio for you guys. So yeah, guys, we're going to wrap. Actually, let's talk about this one last thing, just because we're here, right, bro? Might as well.
Let's do it.
So I was on Instagram and I saw this video. This is kind of off topic. And the guy that was playing Deathstroke in the DCEU, he talked about the plot for the Batman film that was supposed to come out with Ben Affleck. So the plot was supposed to be that Deathstroke had a kid and Batman had a part in the kid dying. Don't know what part he played, but Deathstroke seemed to think that Batman had a part in the kid dying. So don't you know how in
Sounds
the
similar to Titans.
yes, you know how in the end credits, right? Lex Luthor tells the Deathstroke that Bruce Wayne is Batman, right?
Yeah.
He uses that and destroys everything. And apparently he almost kills Alfred. He paralyzes Barbara, and like all this crazy stuff ends up happening in this movie. And Batman loses his wealth, like he loses everything.
Uh,
And not gonna lie, it made me feel like I'm rewatching The Dark Knight Rises again. But
right.
like I was like, okay, we already saw this in The Dark Knight Rises, but
But
how would you have liked that plot?
you know, I think that I mean they clearly. It's funny because they clearly used Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Like Bane is the perfect for that Batman. But I feel like Deathstroke is the perfect villain for Ben Affleck's Batman, and especially what the way everyone freaks out about the warehouse fight scene in Batman vs Superman. You know, can you imagine that Batman fighting Deathstroke on the big screen? I mean, that shit would be cinematic gold. So listen, the Batman, Matt Reeves, amazing. Batman, Brave and the Bold, DCU, gonna be amazing, and I'm all for all of that. But at the same time, did we still possibly miss out on an amazing Batman project with this Batman Deathstroke movie? Fuck yeah, dude. That would have been insane. And again, I think that like it's easier for Marvel to do it, but I think when with DC, because they don't have a successful cinematic universe yet, um, you know, like everyone, no one's going to talk about a villain that they don't know about. Like Mr. Freeze is easy because he had a couple good episodes in the Batman the animated series. So those who don't read comics and just watch Batman animated series all think Mr. Freeze is like an amazing Batman villain. But I think that when you talk Deathstroke to fans, and most fans don't read comics, and a lot of those fans who don't read comics will watch an animated series, but they won't read a comic. So I think that when you talk about a character like Deathstroke, they don't understand, like, they don't know anything about him. They don't know that he's like one of the best fighters in all of, comic book superhero, uh, comics, just the whole genre as a whole. So I don't think that I think like when people hear this plot, I think it's lost on them because they have no knowledge of Deathstroke, period. And Batman is one of the greatest fighters of all time, and so is Deathstroke. And yeah, we absolutely lost out on this. I mean, I was even thinking about it the other day. Everyone's talking Batman 2 villains. Nobody's talking Deathstroke, and he should be at the top of that list.
I agree. So yeah, I equally agree. As much as I hate Batfleck, I think the movie would have been fire. I can't stand him.
I'm a big fan.
I think Ben Affleck is very overrated as an actor. But I do think that the movie would have been good. But if there's no Robin, to me, it's trash. But anyways, but I'm happy that we're getting a new Batman. I can't wait to see who's casted. Give me Jensen Ackles, please. Jensen Ackles is Batman. Give it to me.
That'd be crazy.
I will lose my mind. So you know what, bro? Do you know what we're gonna do next week? Let's fan cast the DCEU next episode. That's gonna be our next episode for next week.
DCU.
The DCU. All right, that's gonna be our next episode.
Let's do it.
So, guys, we're going to get our notes together, and we'll see you guys next week. But thank you guys for watching and listening. You guys have been so faithful. As I said, right, our pages are growing. And we're just being consistent for you guys. So just keep liking.
Share it with your friends too.
Exactly. Share it with your friends. Keep liking. Keep subscribing. As I said, man, we are just growing constantly, and we're so happy. And this is our passion project over here. So. Comic Cuts and I talk a lot, and we're just, we're really trying to make something out of this. And the more you guys support, the more content we can give you. You know what I mean? So, it will be a W if the one day these are our full-time jobs and you get 10 to 20 pieces of content every 3 days. Like, you know what I mean? So
nonstop.
exactly. So thank you guys for watching and listening. Have a good night. Peace out.